Okay, Dana Abercrombie, the Koalition. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Kind of what I wanted to start with was there's a line in the film that says, just because someone wipes your ass doesn't mean you have to kiss theirs. I think it's brilliant. And so for the writer, Daniel, and also for Amber and Luke, building the movie around this concept and Luke as the father, approaching that in a fatherly way in which you want to care for your daughter, but you also want there to be independence and knowing when to let go, but still hold on when need to.
Yeah, exercise in autonomy is not just determined by one individual. It's still we still need each other to figure out how to, find our way. I don't know.
I mean, for me, I think that's what makes Melody's story so universal is this idea that um, we can't just wait around for other people to solve our problems for us. That this is really the story of a girl learning to speak up for herself and fight for herself, like we all have to at some point in our lives.
Yeah, I agree with what they both said.
So then also what I found to be absolutely lovely, as Amber, the director, is there are expressions that the actress goes through with Melody. She's expressing herself, but then you have these moments when you cut away towards the board to let the audience further know what she's thinking. So can you talk about balancing both the emotion and the visuals that is going on screen?
Well, obviously, Phoebe, the actress, portrayed so beautifully the emotional state that our character Melody is in. But I felt like, because she's been using this communication board since she was a baby, so it's second nature to her to think in terms of those images of mom, dad, sun, moon, whatever it is. And so to me, it was just a really interesting device to use editorially to show really where she's at emotionally. Obviously, the actress, Phoebe, didn't need any help showing what it was that she was feeling, but I just felt like that was a really nice way to really get inside her head because for her, the way that she, prior to her getting her AAC device, the way that she got people to understand what she was thinking and feeling was by using the communication board. And so it just felt like a natural progression for me to have it visually represented on screen like that.
And then for Luke, as Chuck, what was fascinating, there's this scene that stands out when she explains what happened with the fish. And there's a lot of emotion that goes through that. What I wanted to know is what was it? Because you expressed by saying, you have such a beautiful voice. Can you talk about the internal dialogue of that moment of realizing that what you assumed was wrong?
It just, it affirms Chuck's instincts about his daughter. But it also, coupled with that is the possibility that he's been, wrong about a number of things in the past. So it's kind of this, it is a bittersweet moment. I mean, I would argue that it's more joyful than anything else, but it's just confronting. It's sort of confronting a new truth in their life, and definitely, worthy of celebration and a kind of a joy, but also a consideration of just, just how challenging Melody's experience potentially has been.
Also for you, Daniel, as a director, what I was wondering is leading with emotion and letting that be the driving force with the direction. Do you find it that way, or is it more of a visual cues? What exactly for you is it that makes a certain scene sparkle and shine for you to direct that in that moment of how you did it?
Well, I think that's a question for Amber.
Oh, for Amber, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I was like,
but I'm happy to opine.
I'm so sorry.
Well, sorry, say the question again because I wasn't sure if you were asking the writer or the director.
Yes,
I'm the
sorry.
director, the writer.
Amber, the director. The question was leading with. I wanted to know when it came to a certain scene, either was it the emotional or the visual that led to the
Emotional.
feel of the emotion. So it's emotional.
Always the truth of the emotion that guides any scene for me. Yeah, it's always the authenticity of what that human being is going through, and it's supported so beautifully by Daniel's script, but it's the actor's job to bring it to life, and it's my job to sort of determine, the kind of the temperature.
And here I thought the extraordinary dialogue was making those decisions.
Oh,
That's part of it. The dialogue is part of it as well, but I think it's, to me, some directors, obviously visual is a huge part of it, right? But it's just a lot of those decisions that you're making about how the movie is going to look and how it's going to be lit and what the color palette is going to be. You're making all those decisions before you're on set. When you're on set with your actors, to me, it's about the emotional truth of the moment rather than, you know what, the color, let's paint this wall a different color. I thought I wanted it white, but now I want it this, so it's, I think that if you have a truthful moment that a human being is going through, that should be your guiding light through any scene.
So for Daniel, the writer, what I love is the progression of words. How we start off with, it's all emotion and limited movements. And of course, you have the parents who talk and people come in, but in dealing with melody, can you talk about the progression of being able to use words that we, usually would just be an expression, and how to choose the kind of the not the temperament, but more of the pacing of how that would go within the script?
Yeah, I take this question to be about dialogue, which kind of can do a few different things in a movie, right? Like dialogue can be part of the soundscape, like music. Dialogue can be exposition, like telling you stuff that's going on. And at its best, dialogue is a choice. And I think that's the power of Melody's story, is that for a big chunk of the movie, if she wants to speak, if she wants to make that choice to state an opinion, it requires other people to shut up and listen. And the power of getting, that scene that you touched on, when she gets to use that device to speak to her dad for the first time out loud, that's the moment where she starts to be able to make the choice to talk, and other people have to listen. And that's like a big, powerful moment, I hope. And I think it plays beautifully, thanks to Luke and Phoebe, and of course, Amber's excellent direction. And I think that's why it's that line of dialogue, which is kind of my favorite in the movie, which is like this moment of revelation that she's been holding in this fact for so long. This is the first thing she wants to say to her dad the first time she gets to speak out loud.
Thank you for speaking to me. Excellent film, by the way. Very emotional. So beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dana.